Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to do a much awaited video. I have a real special treat for y'all today. This video has been requested numerous times. This particular background. I'm not going to reveal it yet exactly what I'm doing. You'll have to stick around to see, and I know many of you are following along and you are going to do the entire tutorial, so I'm very excited for this. If you are new here and you're just stumbling across this video, this is a color along that we have been doing between my Facebook group and my YouTube channel. If you go down in the description below, you will find links for both the playlist for this color along as well as a link to my Facebook group, so you can feel free to join us. The videos will always be up on my channel, so you could start now and color all the way through if you would like to. I would like to start this video out by sharing a beautiful coloring page that was colored in Fairy Miracles by Clara Markova. This page was colored by Tiffany, who is a patron of mine. Thank you so much, Tiffany, for supporting me over on Patreon. If you are one of my patrons at the highest tier, then I like to have you share a coloring page and just kind of give you a little shout out and tell a little bit about the page and how you started coloring here on my YouTube channel, just because I like to show a little bit of appreciation, and I know everybody likes to look at others' coloring pages and hear their stories. So like most of us, she really picked up on coloring again when the quarantine started. I think so many of us are in that position. She loves that it is so relaxing to color new pictures, and she feels like it is therapy for her increased anxiety that she's had during this pandemic. I think all of us can relate to that. I know that I can. And all this sitting in the house is kind of just, I don't know, we really just all need a hobby. She shared that sometimes she is a little bit scared to color directly in the books because sometimes she's afraid of messing up and she just doesn't want to ruin her books. So most times she will follow a tutorial or print the page out and color the page on her own paper, kind of like what we're doing for this color along. And as you can see, her work is really beautiful. It was done with polychromos. I love her selection of colors and the pinks with the oranges and how she did the petal at the very top, or the one flower, the petals with the yellows, and it looks like a little bit of orange and pink. That is absolutely beautiful. You did a beautiful job, Tiffany, for starting coloring just last year. I want to thank you for supporting me over on Patreon. I want to thank all of my Patreons as well as all of you that are watching my videos and support me that way and are really enjoying my tutorials. If you enjoy my videos, please do make sure that you subscribe to my channel and turn your bell notifications on so that you always get notified every time I post new content. And if you enjoy this tutorial, which I really hope that you will, I've worked so hard on this video and getting this absolutely perfect for y'all. So if you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up. I'm very excited about this one. Let's go ahead and get into this video. In this video, we are going to be doing a bokeh background, and I'm pretty sure that I'm pronouncing that right. If you go on Google to see how to pronounce it, there's all different pronunciations, and some people say it bokeh background, and all different pronunciations I've heard. But the most popular pronunciation for this is a bokeh background. So just in case you wanted to know, I did Google it just to make sure because I've heard so many different ways of pronouncing it. But I'm pretty sure that bokeh is the proper one. And for those of you that aren't sure what that is, it's where we do a bunch of circles and they're kind of just reflective looking, and we are going to make sure that we put our depth and our shadows and our highlights all in the right places and blend them in so that they kind of are just kind of look like they're, I don't know, what is the word I'm looking for, kind of like floating all through the background and just kind of really blended into the actual background. So we are using a limited palette, and so the colors that I have chosen are Deco Yellow. I try to look through the color palette and get the colors that are going to be most reflective to be able to do the actual circles, but still be able to stand out if they're laid on top of one another. So I have the Deco Yellow, and I have the Eggshell, and then of course I have white. White is a much needed color. Get out your white, make sure you've got lots of white because we're going to be doing lots of burnishing. And then I have my olive green, and then this is my lime peel. Okay, so we are going to get started. I am fairly decent at making a circle. Those of you that don't want to have to create your own circles, and I'm going to show you how to make your own circles. It's actually very easy. But if you don't and you have a stencil, you can get a stencil like this one. This one is made by Mr. Pen. I believe that this one is from Amazon, but it's got all different sizes of circles. And I may use both. I may draw out some of mine. I don't know where we're going to go with this, but we're going to start and see how it turns out. So the reason that I went with the greens for the background is because we've got greens in her eyes and this leaf here, and we don't have as much green. And my other option would have been to do pink because I've got a lot of pinks and purples in my color palette, but the pink didn't look good. I've already tested this out before I started videoing to show y'all, and the pink did not look good. The green looked much better just because it kind of brings everything that's in the center kind of outward, and there are smaller areas in the center with the green rather than there being such a big section with pink. So it just ended up looking way better. So we are going to come over here. Let me start on this side. And what we're going to do is we are going to start by just drawing in some circles. So decide how big you want your circle to be. And I am just going to draw a circle with my yellow. And then I am going to come back and I am just going to very lightly shade this circle in. Did I say this was my Deco Yellow? Just in case I didn't, this is my Deco Yellow. Now I'm trying to kind of get rid of that line on the outside just a little bit. When you originally make that line, try not to push your pencil down too hard. Okay, so there's our first circle. Now we need to make another circle kind of attached to that one. So I'm going to come in here with my white, and I am going to make another circle that is attached to that one. And if your lighting is good enough, you'll be able to see this circle. I can see where the white has been laid down on my paper, and now I'm coming back with my lime peel, and I'm going to go around the outer edge. This is going to be my actual, or one of my actual background colors. So I'm just coming here and I'm going around the outer edge just so that I can lay a border of where that white was laid. I hope y'all can see that on camera. If not, when I'm editing, then I will zoom this in much more to make sure that y'all can see really well. But that is how you start it. And I'm just kind of filling in the outside here. And so now we have our white circle. Now if I wanted to attach one more circle to this set here, I would do that by just coming in here, and I think that I'm going to make a smaller one now. And so I am just going to come over here and make another circle. Do it very lightly when you come in here and do that. Okay, so I'm going to come back into my yellow circle that is here in the center. And I am going to fill this in a little bit darker, leaving a little bit of lighter area out here on this side. I want a little bit of line of white right here. or the lighter of the yellow. Okay, so then I am going to come up here and I'm going to do the same exact thing. Right here where I already had a little bit of white. I zoomed y'all in a little bit more so you can see exactly what I'm doing. So there was a little bit of white here where I originally drew that, and I'm just coming in here. And right here I'm just kind of making it so that it is not a flat line, just by going in a circular motion here. And then here, where we've got these two, like one laying over the other, I'm going to go over this right here to make it look like this yellow is actually, you know, to make it look like these are intersecting, and then I can go over it again with this so that you could actually see both of those colors there. So now I'm going to come in here, and I'm just going to fill this white in a little bit more. Now see, because I'm using a limited palette and I'm trying to stick to that limited palette, this is a little bit more difficult because, oh, and I don't know if you could see, but I'm kind of pulling that green from the outside in so that it is kind of blended together. But if I wasn't using a limited palette, I would be using gray for some shadows so that I could give it the effect that I want. So I'm trying to kind of have to work around it just so that I could stick to my limited palette, because I'm trying not to go out of the limited palette. So the next time I do one of these backgrounds, we are going to have to do it where I'm not using a limited palette and I'm not limited to colors, and then I'll experiment in another way. But I'm going over this with the white and kind of just bringing it all together. And I think I need a little bit more color on the yellow one. I am using a little bit more pressure. And you guys know whenever I get quiet, it's just because I'm concentrating. And feel free to stop the video when you need to and start the video back up when you need to, just so that you could follow along. Here I'm just adding more color in. And then I'm going to come in with my white, and I'm going to kind of just put a little outer reflection here on the outside of this with the white. And then I'm going to come up here and I'm going to do the same thing with the white on this one. If you have wax from the pencils laying around, feel free to just kind of blow it out of the way. Okay, so let's come in with our line peel. This is probably the series of circles that I want here in this one area. So I am going to start coming in with my line peel, and I'm just going to start lining this around the outer edges. Now you'll see when I add this line peel, you'll see how the white on some of these circles will actually show and make it look more reflective in the end. And after you've laid enough pigment down on these circles, it will kind of guide your pencil as you're coming back and filling more color in. But this is not going to be our only background color. We are only now just getting started. But with this paper, if you guys are using the Spring Hill paper, as I am, you do need to get enough pigment down on the paper so that we can, or are able, to burnish all of this together. But we are going to come back with our darkest green and fill in some of the areas so that it's not flat, because we don't want our background to be flat. We don't want the reflective circles to be flat. We don't want anything to be flat. So by the time we're done, it's going to look very different. So now I have my olive green, and right now I'm just kind of trying to show you exactly how it's going to look as we move forward. And maybe I'll have to do some of this possibly on a speed color, so that I could show you how it's done, and then after you see what I'm doing, then it's much easier for you to just come in and follow. A little secret though for y'all, I have never done before a bokeh background. Ever. And so this is a first for me. So this should show you guys that you can learn anything. And I just kind of practiced and just kind of threw this together. I pulled up some pictures on the internet, on Google, to actually visualize what an actual bokeh background looks like. And then I just kind of put my own ideas together from there. And so I know that this is going to be a very long video because I've practiced it quite a bit before I came on camera and showed y'all how to do it, and it does take quite some time. So either the video will be in 2 parts, or we will do the last half of the video to a speed color, because this process is quite extensive. I tried to put together the easiest way possible because I know that a lot of you that follow my channel are beginners, and so it would have to be an easier version of this. But there are other ways that I want to experiment with. And so I will probably do that after I film this video for y'all, because I really want to play around with this and find some other ways to be able to do this type of background. I am going to come in here and I'm going to make a little tiny circle. And I'm pushing kind of hard because I want to really lay my pigment there. And then I am just going to kind of draw a line around it so I know that I have a circle there. Can you see when I go over the outside with the white how it kind of just brings everything through? And we're going to be doing a lot of that in this video. Hold your pencil kind of to the side so you're not putting a lot of pressure down on it when you lay down this darker color. You just kind of want to use this darker color to just kind of like fill in pigment so that we don't have a flat looking background. See how I kind of left an area right here where it's just line peel? And I'm just kind of filling in certain areas and blending the 2 colors together. And then I'll come back with my line peel and I'll add in more of that. If you want to, you can even come back and add more color and brighten it up with the Deco Yellow. I may do that a little bit later after I get a lot of this laid down on the paper. But I don't know yet, because you guys know when I start something, I never really know where I'm going with it, and it just kind of comes along as I go. But some of this I may have to speed up to music because you can see how long it's already taken just to do this one set of circles. But I think it's already looking really good. There's a lot more that we need to do to it to give it the depth that it needs, and just kind of burnish it all together and make it look like the circles are just kind of floating. But we are going to do another set of circles down here before we start pulling our background down too much. So I think I am going to start with another yellow circle, but this time I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. You want your circles all to be different sizes. I mean, like if you did a size like this bigger one, then kind of try to spread them out in the different areas. Okay, so let me see. I think I want maybe a circle about the size of this white one here, but I'm going to do one of those in yellow. And your circles don't have to be perfect, because the more you go around with them, you can make them a little more circular. And then again, leave your white area out here on the edge when you make your circles. So you can come in here and you can, and the amount of white you want to leave, that's kind of up to you. But then come through and just darken it up in the other areas, leaving that lighter area on the outside where you still have a lot of the white of the paper. And if it still doesn't look like a circle, just keep going around until it looks like a perfect circle. Or like I said earlier, use your stencil. Okay, so do we want, yeah, let's do white next. So I'm going to make a little one with the white. Just kind of off of the end of this one. And then I am going to come and do like I did before, where I took the green and I just kind of outlined it so that I know it's there. And if you lay down enough white, you should be able to see it on the paper. And now I think I need something else, like another little one, like maybe right here. And maybe I won't attach these. Maybe I'll just kind of leave this one like that. You can do whatever you want, and when you're done, it's going to look good. So I'm going to leave some white on this one, and I'm going to do it like that. Okay, so now I'm going to get my lime peel, and I'm going to do what I have been doing, and just come in here and go around my circles. I think it looks pretty good. What do y'all think so far? See that? I'm talking to you guys again. And you can't answer me. This is going to be like a known thing in my videos. Okay, so now that I have that laid, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to darken it up a little bit with my olive green and just kind of bring this through like I did last time. And right here where these are meeting, and we need more lime green, and we're going to kind of just start pulling this out. And I'm just kind of looking at it and see where I may need another circle. But you really don't need too many circles. You want them like grouped up in, I don't know, groups of 3 with like, you know, like I did here. We have a group of 2, but then we have another one just kind of hanging off here. And then I did the same thing here where I did a group of 3, and then I did a little white one kind of hanging off the edge. I think that we need one, like a little one, like right in there. What do y'all think? And I think it should be white. So I am going to do a white one, a little bit bigger, right there. And then of course I'm going to come in with my lime peel and I'm going to go around it so that I know it's there. And now I'm going to come around with the darker color, my olive green. Hold your pencil to the side and just kind of lay the color in and blend it together. And you guys will be amazed. If you lay down your own circles, you'll be amazed how you can actually create a circle. I know a lot of people get really worried that they can't just draw a very straight circle. And I guess I've had some practice because I do draw too from time to time when I'm in the, from time to time when I am in the mood. But I do love drawing as well as coloring. And when you're drawing portraits or faces or whatever you'd like to call it, and doing a lot of practicing with that like I have, you need to know how to draw a circle. Do you think we need one right over here? I think that we might. Let me see, what color do I want it to be? Should I put a yellow one there? Yeah, let's put a little yellow one there to kind of balance it out. And then again, I'm leaving the little bit of white on the outside. And I'm going to come back with my lime peel and I'm going to frame that one in. You guys have no idea how many times this tutorial has been asked for. I was out of frame, I'm sorry. Was I out of frame? I don't think so. You guys have no idea how many times this background has been requested. I wouldn't be exaggerating if I said at least 50 people have begged me to do this tutorial. But everybody asking me, and I had never done one before. So I had to figure it out. Like I do so many other things. You guys would actually be amazed how many things I just kind of figure out, so that I could show you how to do the same thing on my YouTube channel. But I do sit around a lot and I do a lot of practicing. So, like I tell you guys, anytime somebody is saying, oh, I don't think I could do this, or I wish I could color as good as you do, or whatever, I actually sit around and just practice. A lot, even still. Practice is so important. Okay, so I have my lime peel and I'm just kind of making sure that I have enough pigment down on the paper. So that when I go burnish it out, because you guys know if you're using the same paper that I'm using, you guys know that if you are using this paper that it has a lot of tooth, and so it takes a lot of layers. So if you want to burnish and color all or cover all the white of the paper, you really have to have enough pigment down on the paper, especially for this effect to look the way that you want it to look. You have to have enough pigment down on the paper to get the results that you want. Otherwise, it's not going to look as though it should. So just keep going around and just adding in more pigment and more pigment with your pencils, and get really close in here to where the hair is. It's even blending some of this out. Okay, so should we add a little bit more of the olive green? Let's start up at the top. And in the corners where your circles are meeting, is where you want most of it. The darker green really adds exactly what you need, because when you go in the corners here of these circles, it just makes your circles much more pronounced, and that's what you want. And we are gonna come back and we are gonna pull all of that through. Now this part here where I'm just kind of showing you how to do all of this, I wanted to do it slow, so I really don't want to speed it up to music. So the video is going to go kind of long. So now we're going to come back with our lime peel, and we are going to just lay another layer until we see that white kind of being covered, and kind of pull that dark green back out. And I think that it is almost ready to be burnished. And then we'll be able to move on to another section. Okay, so now that that has been done, I think it looks really good so far. So now that that has been done, we are going to come back with our trusty white Prisma, and we are going to come to the outer edges of each one of these circles, and we're going to pull this through. And we're going to go in a circular motion. And so we are going to just make everything look as though it is just kind of blended together. And I'm going slow. Look at the difference. Okay, so here where I see that I had quite a bit of a pronounced green line, I probably should have used the lime peel in that area. And I am using a much harder pressure because I really want to burnish all of this together. Hold your pencil at the side and try not to drag the darkest into the lightest. Try to drag the lightest outward. Oh, I love how these colors are looking. Okay, so we're going to come over here. We're going to keep doing the same thing. And then here where it's white, I have a lot of white here for the reflective area that I wanted to keep, so I am going to find a scrap paper and I'm just going to color with my pencil a little bit because I don't want to drag this. I want to go from the inside out because I don't want to pull the dark color in. So I just want to stay right on the edge and do this. Don't pull the dark color into the lighter color. Voila! And then we want to do the same thing down here. And just keep blending the entire main background. And all around where the circles are. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm kind of over here on a scratch paper because I don't want to pull the wrong colors in. Because I have this white reflective dot right here that I want to just come right on the outer edge, and I just want to blend these colors together, but I don't want to pull too much of that dark green into the reflective area of the circle. Look how pretty. And the same thing down here, where we have a lot of our darker green. Stay on the outside, don't come into where your lighter colors are. And the same thing down here. Now we're going to come down into this area and we're going to make some more circles and do the same thing that we did up in the top part here. I want to kind of even out my colors, and so I can see that I have the eggshell. The last circle I did with the eggshell was up here, so I'm going to bring more eggshell down here and make another circle. And I think, I'm just trying to think of what size I want to do. If you look at all of the rest of these, I've got a big one here, and I don't really have another big one, so maybe we'll do one that is not too big, but kind of in the middle, just because a bigger one won't fit. And then when we get to the top, we'll do another bigger one. So let's go ahead and make our circle. And then I think I want to attach a yellow one to that. Or do I want to do white? Let me go ahead and do yellow. So of course we can't really fit a whole lot in here, so I am just going to do a little yellow one here. And I'm going to overlap here and just kind of connect them. Hopefully y'all can see that in the camera. And maybe I'll make this a set of 3 and do another very little white one right here. Now of course when I do the white one, I need to come back and so that I could see it, so that I know where I put it, and I'm just going to do what I did earlier and very lightly lay down some of my line peel. And I'm going to go ahead and go around these with the lime peel and kind of fill some of this in. We are going to come back and we're going to do the exact same thing we did earlier. And so I'm going to come over here and I'm going to darken it up on this side, leaving a little bit of white here so that I can come back and make that look a little bit reflective. So I'm only coloring in the center. And then you could see how these two are kind of overlapping one another. So when I put my reflective edge on this one, I think that I want to make it right here since it's got another circle over here on this side. And so I'm just going to give it a very little bit of reflective edge right here on the outer side. And then here where these meet, I need to come back in and treat this as it's just kind of a separate section. And then of course I'll go back over it again with the yellow, just to try to kind of make it look like the colors are coming together. And then up here we've got the two that are connecting because we have our white. So I am going to come in here and I'm just going to go over this with my white. And then I am going to come back over this area where we have our little area where they are meeting one another. I'm just going to come back over these areas where I have one circle meeting with the other circle, and then I'm going to just come in here and add a little more pigment. I'm purposely leaving a little white area here in the center just because I want to experiment a little bit and see how it looks. Okay, so now that we have all of our circles colored in, I'm going to come back and I am going to do this in this area right here and just kind of spread this out to make that reflective edge and then blend it into the green. I think I need more green in here. Just going over this white circle again. And then I'm going to blend this all the way through just to kind of try to burnish it out. And then go over here on the outer edge to blend it in with this green. Let me go ahead and finish filling in the green areas for the background. I need to put some down here so that I can come back and blend that through and create that highlighted area on the yellow circle. Oops, wrong color. Okay, so we are going to do that here now and create that reflective edge and go in a circular motion all the way around it. And I'm going to come back and I'm going to fill this in just a little bit more so that it is really standing out. And then I am going to get my darker green and create a little bit more depth in these areas. I'm going very lightly when I do this. You just really want your circles to stand out, but you still want them to look like they are kind of fading off into the distance on the outside. And I don't know, should we put another circle over here down below her hair? I think that we should. I'm just adding a little bit more pigment here with my lime peel. Go over that circle one more time. And then I'm going to go over this circle one more time. And then I'm going to start doing my little thing here where I go in a circular motion around the edges of the circle. And I'm just going to try to pull everything through. And I'm going to burnish some of this out quite a bit. And of course you can come back and add more pigment with your pencils as you need it. I'm going to add a little bit more of the darker green just so it matches the top area and what I've already done. And then in here where my circles meet, I want to make sure I have more green so that my circles just really stand out. See how they just kind of look like they're just kind of floating off into space? That is how they should look when you're done. And it may take quite a bit of burnishing with the white, but it's supposed to. And if you find that you need more pigment like in your background areas, then just go ahead and apply more pigment. And I will need to come back up and just continue to burnish in the areas at the top as well. Let's go ahead and come in here and make another circle. If you want to see what it's looking like so far, that is what it's looking like so far. I really love these down here. And see, as you go, you'll get better at doing this. I mean, I can tell that I'm getting better at doing it as I go. And it just takes a lot of practice. I'm going to come in, I really like how this looks where I came in and I just kind of added this eggshell over here on the edges just to kind of brighten it up. But you can do what you want to do and just come up with your own ideas where you want to add some more like lighter colors just to kind of bring it all together. But I really like how a little bit of this eggshell looks all blended in. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and make another circle down here. And I've got all three of my colors there. So I'm thinking, I don't know, maybe just a white circle down there would be pretty. Just kind of by itself. Okay, so let's go ahead and make a circle here. And then of course, just like before, where I came in and I just kind of very lightly hold your pencil to the side so you don't lay down too much pigment from your pencil. But this is the lime peel, and we're just going to kind of lay this down all around it. And the white will show you, when you start to hit it, you'll feel it. Like when you start to hit the white where you created your circle, you'll definitely feel it. So it will keep you in the area that you need to be. Okay, so we're going to come back again, and over the green, we're going to add in a little bit of our olive green. I'm just kind of going around and just kind of laying it wherever. I'm not getting too close to the circle yet, because now I need to come back in where my circle is, and I need to do this where I go in a circular motion all the way around my circle. And that will give it the look that we are trying to accomplish if you just kind of pull the colors into one. And that's what gives it that floaty looking look. And then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to just make this more white. And then I am just going to come in and add more lime peel so that I have enough pigment down on the paper and I can come in and I can just burnish all of this together. And I'm gonna make it green all in here. And I think I want to add some eggshell in there. Just because it kind of brightens it up a little bit. And you're doing this just so your background doesn't have a really flat looking effect. And then it just has kind of a variation of colors. I'm filling in the rest of the background on this side, all behind her hair. And of course here I'm getting closer to where there is a lot of green. So I'm going to get my eggshell and I'm going to pull this through over here because I want that leaf to stand out rather than blend right into the background. I'm adding just a little bit of my olive green. And I'm going to fill this in right here, this area with the egg or the eggshell. You just have to keep trying to just mix your colors together. And just lay them around where you feel like you want them and where you feel like they're going to look best. But I need to get enough pigment down on the paper so that I could burnish it all together. Okay, so let's go ahead and try to burnish some of this together now. And you're just going to take your white pencil and go in a circular motion like this over all of the colors you laid down, and it's just going to kind of pull them all through and just pull them all together. And then I'm going to go one last time over my white circle down here. And I'm going to go in a circular motion around it one more time just to bring these colors together. And then I'm going over my circle like this one more time. Now we're going to come back up here, and the last part that we need to do, well, this isn't the last part. I'm probably going to do one more thing after this to show you exactly how we're doing this. And as I finish the rest of the background, I'm either going to do that in a second video because this one's already gone on very long, or I'm going to do it to music and just kind of speed it up. So if we come over here, and we could still see that this is not really all the way burnished in these areas, and our circles still kind of look like they have a harsh line. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get my white Prisma, and I am coming over all of these again. I'm going in a circular motion all around the edges of all my circles to try to pull that green into the other colors. So as I go over this more and more, it will just really just burnish it all together. This is a lot of burnishing. That's why I told y'all in the beginning, make sure you have a lot of white. I'm probably going to have to buy another pack of white Prismas after I'm done with this. But I'm just doing this all the way around, trying to make sure that I'm still in frame for y'all. See how I'm just kind of pulling the green down into here as much as I possibly can. A lot of it's already been burnished out, so I'm not going to be able to pull it through too much, but you can see if you look closely that it is bringing it together even more, especially over here where I just went over it. See how it's kind of pulling that green into the white? So this is what it is looking like so far, and I really like how it's turning out, but if I look at this, I'm not happy with this bit of green that is right in this area, and I'm looking at it and thinking, oh, it can use something else. So I am going to try a little something here and show you exactly what you could do when you come back and want to just add more reflectiveness to the area that you are trying to create this effect in. So I've got my stencil, and I am just going to choose a circle of a size that will fit there, overlapping this yellow circle. And so I'm going to, let me go ahead and zoom you in so y'all can see what I'm doing. I think that this one looks like it's a good size. I think it's actually perfect. And you lay it right where you want it. And then I pulled out my electric eraser, which I don't generally ever use because I refuse to use it in a coloring book, because a lot of the coloring books don't have thick enough paper, and sometimes these erasers will just go right through your paper if you're not really careful with them, because they're pretty heavy duty. But I pulled it out because I wanted to show y'all a little something and what you can do to make this effect look even better. And so I'm going to turn on my eraser, and I'm just going to take this pigment that has been laid into the paper, and I'm going to remove it. So now I've removed most of the pigment out of the paper in that one area, and so I'm going to come back with my right Prismacolor, and I'm just going to fill this in. And it's just going to make a reflective area where I didn't have one. Voila! And it looks a little bit different than the other ones, so it adds a little bit of variation in what we have going on. And I may try it one more time and do it on camera for y'all, but up here in the corner where I had this white dot, I don't really like how I put that white circle there, so I am going to take that out and maybe make it a little bit bigger and then put more white there. So I think that I am just going to choose maybe this size. That might be a little too close to the size we already have going on. So maybe this size here. And then I'm going to come back again with my eraser, and I'm going to take the pigment out from right there. And see, this will show you too that you don't ever have to worry about making a quote-unquote mistake, because I just undid what I did and just filled it in and made it different than it was before. For the sake of the length of this video, I know it's gotten pretty long already, I'm going to go ahead and set it to music and do the rest as I fill in the rest of this background. I am going to do it to a speed color to music, so sit back and enjoy the background come to life as it is set to music, and we are going to do that now. background is pretty much done for the most part, but there are a few finishing touches that I want to be able to do to mine, that just little things that I see that I would want to fix. I'm probably going to burnish it in a little bit more. I'm going to add more of my darker green so that my circles really pop out. And I'm going to do a little bit of it on camera. So like here in this area, I am going to add another white reflective looking circle so that these just kind of all come together. So again, I'm going to use my stencil and just kind of pick a size that I want to pick. And if you can see right here, I've got a yellow circle and then I have the eggshell circle. So I think that a little bit of transition right here connected to this yellow one, if I just add another white one right there to kind of fill in this area and lay it on top of the yellow, I think that would look really cool. So again, I am going to use my electric eraser. I just had to fix it a little bit, but I'm going to lay my circle there. This is about the size that I want, so I'm going to come back with my electric eraser and I'm going to take this pigment out here, just like I did earlier in the video. But I'm going to come back in here and I am going to just color this in with my white Prisma. And I just created another circle, and then I'm going to come back and I'm just going to go around the edges just so it kind of blends it in a little bit and it doesn't have a straight flat line. Since there is already so much wax on the paper, it may take a little bit to get that done the way that you want to. I'm looking around to see where I could add another one. I'm thinking maybe right over here, but I kind of want this one to just be all by itself, and I think that's a good size. So let me just fix my eraser. I am almost out of eraser. Like I said, I never use this thing just because I won't use it in my coloring books, but on this paper it works fantastic. Okay, so let's go ahead and take out the color here again. And then we're just going to come back in with our white Prisma and we are going to go over it. And then again, I'm going to do the same thing like I did over there, and I'm just going to pull it out a little bit and kind of blend it in just so it doesn't look so flat. Oh, and this one really did blend in really well. Okay, so if I look at it, let me see. I think I might want to put a little bit more white right over here up in this corner. So I don't know if I want it attached to the other one. Maybe I will do just a very little one over here on this row and attach it to that one. And then we're just filling it in. And then again, just kind of come back and pull it out like you did on the other ones. Okay, so now I'm going to come back with my olive green, and I am just going to add a little bit more olive green. Am I out of frame? I'm going to add a little bit more of the olive green just around my circles, just to create a little bit more depth and kind of just help my circles to stand out even more. I think while I'm doing this, I'm going to speed this up to music again, and I'm going to do that now. our background all done. I absolutely love it. I hope y'all enjoyed this tutorial, and now y'all can go make your own bokeh background and have fun with it. I cannot wait until you come to the Facebook group and share what you did from following this tutorial. I can't wait to see your beautiful coloring pages as you're done. Now know that you don't have to use the greens. You can use any of the other colors you want to in the color palette, since this is a limited color palette, but if you want to completely copy exactly what I did, that's fine too. You probably already did if you followed this video without just watching it through first. So everything that I have shown you in this video, the electric sharpener and the stencil, will all be in the description box below. If you enjoyed this video, please do give this video a thumbs up. If you want to continue seeing my videos, please do subscribe and turn your bell notifications on. I am also now on Patreon, so you can support me over there if you would like to. I hope y'all have a fabulous day. Happy coloring. Bye.